My wife found out I had stolen her identity while we were sitting in a bank trying to get approved for a mortgage. She thought we were there to finally buy a home for our 5-year-old daughter. Instead, the loan officer told her she had more than $70,000 in debt spread across credit cards and personal loans she had never opened. Claire turned to me and asked one question. Why aren't you surprised? That was the moment my marriage ended. She just didn't know yet that I had also destroyed her credit, spent 2 years lying to her, and gambled away every chance I had to fix it. I'm 38 years old. Before all of this, I worked as a sales manager for a regional building supply company outside Columbus, Ohio. It was a decent job. My base salary wasn't amazing, but I earned commissions and quarterly bonuses. Some months were better than others, which made it easy for me to explain unexpected money or a smaller paycheck. My wife, Claire, is 35 and works as a physical therapist at an outpatient clinic. She is one of those people who remembers everything: appointments, school events, birthdays, insurance renewals. She kept a calendar on the refrigerator with different colored markers for each of us. We had been married for 8 years. Our daughter, Ava, was 5. We rented a 2-bedroom townhouse in a quiet neighborhood. It was a little cramped, but it was safe, close to Ava's preschool and only 15 minutes from Claire's clinic. For years, our main goal was buying a house. Not a huge house. We wanted 3 bedrooms, a small backyard, and a decent school district. Claire had pictures saved on her phone of kitchens she liked and bedrooms she thought would be perfect for Ava. Every few months, Ava would ask when she was getting her forever room. We told her soon. Financially, we weren't rich, but we were doing okay. Claire had student loans. We had 1 car payment and daycare was expensive, but we paid our bills. We had savings. We took 1 modest vacation a year. We ordered pizza on Fridays. I was the less organized one, but Claire trusted me. We kept separate checking accounts for personal spending and transferred money into a joint account for rent, childcare, and household expenses. Claire handled most of the budgeting. I handled the car payment, insurance, and some of the larger bills. Our tax returns, insurance documents, and copies of our IDs were stored in a filing cabinet in our bedroom. I knew where everything was. At the time, that didn't seem important. I wasn't unhappy with my life. That's something I need to make clear. I loved my wife. I loved my daughter. I wasn't trying to escape some terrible marriage or unbearable job. I was just restless. Sales had trained my brain to chase numbers. Every month had a target. Every deal had a commission attached to it. A good week made me feel smart. A bad week made me feel like I had failed. Sports betting fit into that part of me more easily than I want to admit. It made losing feel temporary and winning feel like proof that I understood something other people didn't. I didn't understand anything. It started with football. A few guys from work had a group chat where they talked about games every weekend, mostly NFL and college football. They would send screenshots of their bets and complain about bad calls. I followed sports, but I had never bet on anything before. One Friday, one of the guys sent me a referral link for a betting app. He said I would get $200 in bonus bets if I deposited $50. I made the account while sitting in my car during lunch. My first bet was $20 on a team to cover the spread. I lost. I placed another one and won $38. It didn't feel dangerous. It felt like fantasy football with money attached. That Sunday, I made a parlay with 6 different games. I didn't really expect it to win. I picked teams I liked, added a couple of player props, and put $100 on it. Every result hit. The final game came down to the last few minutes. I was standing in our living room staring at the television while Claire helped Ava color at the dining table. When the last part of the bet won, my account balance jumped to just over $6,800. I had never made that much money in one day. Not from work, not from anything. I withdrew most of it. The following weekend, I took Claire and Ava to an indoor water park. We stayed in a nice room, ate out, and let Ava choose whatever she wanted from the gift shop. Claire asked why I was suddenly spending so much. I told her I had received a bonus at work. She hugged me and said she was proud of me. That was my first lie about gambling. It should have bothered me more than it did. Instead, I told myself it wasn't really a lie because I had earned the money, I had made the picks, I had taken the risk. For the next few months, I bet mostly on weekends. $50 here, $100 there. Sometimes I won enough to pay for groceries or take Claire to dinner. Sometimes I lost. But the losses didn't feel serious because they came from the original winnings. At least that was how I thought about it. Then I lost the rest of the money. I tried to win it back with a larger bet and lost that too. I deposited $500 from my checking account, lost it. Another $500, then $1,000. I started betting on sports I didn't even watch. Tennis matches in Europe, basketball games in countries I couldn't find on a map, late night baseball, live bets on whether the next play would be a run or a pass. I would wake up and immediately check scores. At work, I kept betting apps open beneath my sales software. At home, I took my phone into the bathroom and stayed there until Claire knocked on the door. "Are you okay?" "Just my stomach." I said that so many times she eventually bought me medication. After about 6 months, I had lost close to $14,000. Most of it came from my savings, and 2 credit cards Claire didn't know were nearly maxed out. I still believed I could stop. I just didn't want to stop while I was behind. That was the logic that controlled everything after that. I didn't need to gamble forever. I only needed one good weekend. My commission started going straight toward minimum payments. When Claire asked why I wasn't transferring as much money into our house fund, I blamed a slow quarter at work. She believed me because sales really was unpredictable. Then she started picking up extra Saturday appointments at the clinic. "I don't mind," she told me. "Every little bit gets us closer." I would nod and tell her she was right. Then I would gamble while she was working. I applied for a personal loan in my own name and told the lender it was for debt consolidation. I used part of it to pay down my credit cards. The rest went into betting accounts. Within 3 months, the loan was gone and the cards were full again. I tried to apply for another loan and was denied. That should have stopped me. Instead, it made me panic. By then, gambling no longer felt like something I did for fun. It felt like the only possible solution to a problem gambling had created. I knew Claire had excellent credit. She checked it once or twice a year and was proud of the fact that she had never missed a payment. She had one credit card that she barely used and always paid off. I knew her social security number because we filed taxes together. I knew her income. I knew her date of birth, previous address, and every security question a lender might ask. One night, after Claire and Ava were asleep, I applied for a credit card in Claire's name. I told myself I was only checking whether she would be approved. When the approval appeared on the screen, my hand started shaking. The limit was $7,500. I created a new email address using her name and selected paperless statements. I had the physical card sent to my office. I promised myself I would use no more than $1,000. I used $3,000 the first night. Most of it was gone before the card even arrived. For days, I felt physically sick whenever I looked at Claire. She would sit beside me on the couch, put her feet under my legs, and show me houses on her phone. "This one has a fenced yard," she said one night. "Ava could actually play outside without us watching the parking lot." I looked at the price and immediately started calculating how much I would need to win. I didn't think, "I have to tell her." I thought, "I need to fix this before she finds out." I opened a second card in her name to make payments on the first, then a third. I applied for an online personal loan using her employment information. The company called to verify something while Claire was at work, but they used the phone number I had provided. "My phone number?" I answered and pretended to be helping with her application. Every time something worked, the next step became easier. The total debt reached $18,000, then $27,000, then $41,000. I kept spreadsheets on my work laptop with payment dates and balances. I moved money between accounts, used cash advances, and paid one lender with another. I changed the mailing address on several accounts to my office. Any letters that came to the house, I took from the mailbox before Claire got home. I became obsessed with checking the mail. Once, Claire came home early and found me standing near the front window waiting for the delivery truck. "Are you expecting something?" she asked. "A contract from work." I had an answer for everything. Around that time, Claire received an alert from a credit monitoring service saying there had been activity on her credit file. She showed me the email over breakfast. "Do you think someone stole my information?" I felt my heart pounding, but I kept eating. I told her it was probably a scam email. She started searching for the company's phone number. I took the phone from her and said, "I'll deal with it. You're going to be late." She hesitated, then handed it to me. I deleted the email after she left. Later that day, I called one of the credit bureaus and used her information to answer the security questions. I changed the contact email and enabled additional alerts that went to me. I didn't just steal her identity. I helped her ignore the warning that could have saved her. That is one of the things she has never forgiven me for. By the second year, the debt in Claire's name was over $60,000. Some accounts were already late. I was constantly afraid. Every unknown phone number made me sweat. Every envelope felt like a bomb. Every time Claire opened her laptop, I wondered if she was checking her credit. But I also had moments when I believed I was close to fixing everything. One weekend, I won almost $48,000. It happened across several bets, not one miracle parlay. A basketball bet hit, then a live baseball bet, then I won more than $20,000 on a fight. I sat alone in the garage staring at the balance. It was enough to pay off most of the accounts in Claire's name. Not all of them, but enough that I could start cleaning up the damage. I withdrew $10,000. Then I decided to leave the rest in the account until the next day. That evening, Claire surprised me. She placed a folder on the kitchen table after Ava went to bed. Inside were bank statements and a list of mortgage lenders. Claire had been saving more money than I knew. She had picked up extra patience, skipped buying new clothes, and put every tax refund into a separate savings account. She had saved almost $29,000 for a down payment. "I wanted to surprise you when we got closer," she said. "I think we're finally ready." I should have confessed right then. Instead, I hugged her. I told her I was proud of her. The following night, I lost the remaining gambling balance. I started with a $2,000 bet. After it lost, I placed another. By sunrise, the $38,000 I had left was gone. I still had the $10,000 withdrawal coming, but instead of paying down Claire's debt, I used most of it over the next few weeks trying to win back the rest. That money disappeared too. Claire scheduled a meeting with a mortgage advisor. For 3 weeks, I tried to delay it. I said we should wait for interest rates to improve. I said my next commission check would make our application stronger. I said I wanted time to organize my employment records. She finally looked at me and said, "You've been talking about this house for years. Why are you suddenly scared?" I told her I wasn't scared. The meeting was booked for Friday morning. The night before, I barely slept. I knew the mortgage lender would pull both of our credit reports. I considered pretending to be sick. I considered damaging the car. I even thought about calling the bank and canceling the appointment without telling Claire, but every option only delayed the same thing. Part of me still believed there might be a mistake. Maybe some accounts had not been reported yet. Maybe the loan officer would only look at my credit. Maybe I could explain it later. Addiction had trained me to treat impossible outcomes like reasonable plans. So, on Friday morning, I put on a clean shirt, drove my wife to the bank, and sat beside her while she talked about our future. The meeting started normally. The mortgage advisor was a man named Greg. He asked about our income, employment history, monthly expenses, and the type of home we wanted. Claire was excited. She told him about the school district we liked and said we wanted a backyard for Ava. Greg smiled and said our income looked strong. Then he pulled our credit reports. His expression changed. At first, he didn't say anything. He looked at the screen, clicked through several pages, and asked Claire to confirm her social security number. She did. He looked at me, then back at her. "There appears to be a significant issue with your credit profile," he said. Claire laughed nervously. "What kind of issue?" Greg asked whether she had recently taken out several personal loans. She said no. He asked about multiple credit cards opened during the previous 18 months. She shook her head. "I only have one credit card." Greg turned the monitor slightly, but not enough for us to read everything. He said the report showed 11 accounts she hadn't mentioned, 4 of them past due. The total balance was a little over $71,000. Claire stared at him. "That's impossible." Greg said it could be identity theft and recommended that she contact the lenders and freeze her credit immediately. Claire started asking questions. When were the accounts opened? Which companies? What addresses were used? I sat beside her without saying anything. Then she turned toward me. Her face had changed. She wasn't confused anymore. She was watching me. "Why aren't you surprised?" she asked. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. Greg looked between us and quietly said he could give us a few minutes. The door closed behind him. Claire asked me again, "What did you do?" I said there had been some gambling. Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry. "How much?" I told her I didn't know exactly. She pointed toward the computer. "He just told us exactly." I said I could explain. She stood up so quickly that her chair hit the wall. "You used my name?" I told her I had planned to pay everything back. She asked how many accounts I had opened. I said I wasn't sure. That was another lie. I knew every account. Claire picked up her purse and walked out of the office. I followed her into the parking lot. She wouldn't get into the car with me. She called her sister and told her to pick her up. I kept saying, "Please let me explain." Finally, she turned around and said, "You sat next to me every night while I worked extra hours to save for a house. You watched me do that while you were stealing my credit." I told her I was sick. She said, "Then you should have told me you were sick before you made me responsible for it." Her sister arrived 20 minutes later. Claire went home with her. She took Ava from preschool and stayed at her sister's house. That evening, she returned with her sister and her brother-in-law. They went through the filing cabinet, the desk, and my work bag. They found several letters I had missed. Claire sat on the bedroom floor reading them. She found the email address I had created in her name. She found the spreadsheet on my laptop. She saw the dates, balances, missed payments, and lender names. She also found the credit alert she had shown me months earlier. The one I told her was a scam. She asked me whether I had deleted it. I said yes. That was the first time she cried. Not when she heard the amount. Not when she saw the loans. When she realized she had tried to protect herself and I had deliberately stopped her. The next morning, she spoke to a lawyer and contacted the credit bureaus. To dispute the debts, she needed to report the identity theft. She told me she was going to the police. I begged her not to. I said I would sign something accepting responsibility. I said I would repay everything. I said a criminal case would cost me my job and make it harder to support Ava. Claire looked at me and said, "You already made me choose between protecting you and protecting our daughter." Then she added, "I'm choosing her." She filed the report that afternoon. It has been 9 months since the meeting at the bank. Claire filed for divorce. We did not buy a house. She and Ava moved into a small apartment near Claire's sister. Most of the fraudulent accounts have been disputed, but the process is slow. Some lenders removed the balances quickly. Others demanded more documents. Her credit is still damaged. She had to use part of the down payment money she saved for legal fees, moving costs, and childcare. I lost my job. My employer discovered that I had used the office address to receive credit cards and loan documents. I had also missed work, lied about sales appointments, and spent hours gambling on company devices. I now work in a warehouse, loading building materials onto delivery trucks. I accepted responsibility for the accounts and entered a plea agreement. The legal process is not completely over, but I will be paying restitution for years. My finances are monitored, and I am not allowed to open new credit without approval. I attend gambling recovery meetings 3 times a week. I have blocked myself from betting sites and turned over control of my bank account to my older brother. Those things help. They do not make the urge disappear. Sometimes I still watch a game and automatically calculate what the odds might be. Sometimes I hear someone at work talking about a bet, and my first thought is that I could make money if I were smarter this time. That thought scares me more than anything. Claire communicates with me mostly through a parenting app. I see Ava every other Saturday at my brother's house. She doesn't understand why I no longer live with her mother. She knows we didn't get the house, but she doesn't know why. A few weeks ago, she showed me a drawing. It was a yellow house with 3 windows, a tree, and 3 people standing in front of it. She pointed to each person. "That's Mommy, that's me, and that's you." I had to go into the bathroom because I didn't want her to see me cry. I used to tell myself I was gambling to give my family a better life. Later, I told myself I was gambling to repair the damage. The truth is that I kept choosing the next bet over them, then using them as the reason I needed to keep going. Claire walked into that bank believing we were about to start the next part of our life together. She walked out knowing that her husband had been stealing her identity for almost 2 years. I didn't just ruin our chance to buy a house. I made my wife prove she was the victim of a crime before anyone would believe that her own name belonged to her.